Thank you for turning to page 121. This is a kind of a neat offering from Avenger Enterprises for Traveler, and this was written for Mongoose Traveler first, but it's usable any edition of Traveler you really care to play. It's Sitrep 1 Callia, or Callia, however you want to say that. It's written by Martin J. Doherty, Traveler writer extraordinaire, and was out in 2008. So this would be early days of Mongoose, or just when Mongoose was starting. And what we get is situation report about a planet, in this case Callia, or Callia, however you want to say it. I say Callia. And it's a situation report as presented by the crew of the RSS Avenger. That's Research Starship Avenger. And it's written kind of a little bit of whimsy to it, but it's basically a look at the world itself, what it has to offer. The crew comes into the area, goes down to the planet, looks around, eats the local food, talks to the local people, gets an idea of what kind of accommodations are available, etc. So it's a planet book for you, and it talks about where Callia is in, say, desert world. It has a starport. It's got a high port and a down port. There's a nice map of it, and it just tells you about the planet. So this is something that's ready to go for you as the GM. If you want to put your players on this planet, there's a ton of ideas in this book. This book is $3.58 on DriveThruRPG. It's not available as a print and demand. You get 24 pages, and you get a nice look at the planet itself. And then they do a section called Trying Out Stuff. Basically, they do product demos. So if you want to know if this weapon is good or this survival suit is good or whatever, they have a bunch of them in here. I'm not going to go through all the book because, as I say, it's a relatively short book. I don't want to give everything away. But it's a neat little book if you're looking for that first-hand information, and especially the first-hand information that you as the game master are trying to convey to your players. This is a neat little book that'll help you do it. They did two of these. One is Sitrep 1 Callia, and the other is Sitrep 2 Aster, and they're both $3.58. I recently picked these up. I read them both in one night, in one sitting. They were fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of the little quips that are in the writing. I enjoyed the lighthearted attitude that the writing had. It gave you a real flavor for what the planets are like. This was going to be part of an ongoing series from Avenger Enterprises. Unfortunately, they only did the first two. And this is something that I could definitely see being a neat thing for a Traveler going forward. This is a nice presentation. It's just well done all the way around, and I could see that this might be something that could be pursued in another Traveler offering, whether through the open game license or something Mongoose might want to do, or somebody wants to do in a blog. This is a nice format. So I recommend you take a look at this because there's a lot to add flavor to your game here. When they test a weapon, they talk about how they ran it over with their wheeled vehicle to see if it would survive. They found the nastiest pit of gunk they could dunk it in, pulled it out, and it still fired. Or it's a piece of garbage and fell apart, the second time we used it. You get all that, and you get it in terms that it's just basically, hey, this is a piece of garbage, don't use it, or this is a really good item, you want to go ahead and stock up on this. Or very often they'll talk about the price point. It's a good item, but the price point's a little high. And it's mostly weaponry and survival gear, some vac suits, some rescue bubbles, some stuff like that. But for $3.58 each, this is absolutely worth it. These were ones that I've had my eye on for a long time. I finally pulled the trigger. And like I said, I sat down and read both of them back to back in one sitting and thoroughly enjoyed myself. These are very well written. Martin J. Doherty writes a really nice book, adventure, whatever. He's a good writer. He's solid for Traveler. And I enjoyed it. So Avenger Enterprises, for those who aren't familiar with it, is kind of what got us through the aughts, the early 2000s. There was not a ton going on with Traveler. We had D20, which was fun, and I was totally in it. And then Avenger Enterprises came up and did some D20 stuff, and then they bridged with some other stuff. It was I'm delighted it was around. I'm glad I had it because I wasn't playing a ton of Traveler during that time either. We did play Traveler D20, but not as much as I would have liked, even though it was my primary Traveler for a long time. We did play some other Traveler in there in the meantime. We also went over to Star Frontiers for a while, just because I needed a space game and there was nothing really new coming out for Traveler. Don't get me wrong, I've played all the older versions of Traveler, Traveler, Mega Traveler, New Era, Mark Miller's Traveler, GURPS Traveler. I've played all of those, so we had all of those coming into this, but it was still nice to have something new and interesting coming from Avenger Enterprises. And this one was always unfortunately lower down on my list. I wish I'd gotten it earlier because there's a bunch of stuff in here I really enjoyed. But that's all I've got today from Avenger Enterprises, Sitrep, Book 1, Callia, and then, of course, there's the second book as well, which is Aster, another planet. And Callia is a desert world, and Aster is a water world. So you get a nice change there, too. It's not just cookie cutter, the same thing over and over. But I recommend these. I'll put a link to Drive for RPG for this particular book for Callia. And I do recommend them, and I think you'll enjoy them. But that's all I've got today from page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please tell your friends. I'm still growing the channel. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Leave some comments. And please take a look at Patreon, see if there's anything you can do to help me out there. But that's it for today on page 121. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.